can't because I'll lose my job. But that's also the reason I don't want to write young adult novels, because there's just a point, and let's face it, there is no more foul-mouthed creature on the face of the earth than a 13-year-old boy. Because that's the best you can do when you're 13, right? Or at least when I was 13. So I think it's bullshit. So no, I wouldn't do Twilight. Although I just read the Hunger Games trilogy. Evidently, it's okay to dismember people and garrote them and set them on fire and torture them and brainwash them and suck their brains out through their ears and stuff, as long as nobody's shagging. So anyway,
Lamb is pretty obviously a lighthearted take on some episodes from the Bible, but did you get any flack from the Fringe?
Only when Mel Gibson made the movie of it and left all the jokes out. No, actually, we thought that was gonna happen, and you can tell by the first afterword that I have 20 pages of going kidding, because I thought I was going to end up in a secure suite with Salman Rushdie, but as it turned out, in the last, this will be 10 years since it came out, I've gotten 4 negative emails and literally tens of thousands of praiseworthy stuff. They teach it at Harvard Divinity now. They wouldn't let me mop the floors at Harvard Divinity, They'd have security remove me from that campus, but they're teaching my book there. And it's taught in a bunch of seminaries, and in fact here in Mountain View, I think was the first time an Episcopal priest came and got her copies of Lamb signed. So no, I mean I can tell you the 4 negative letters I've gotten, 2 were from Alabama, they hadn't read the book. One was from a lady in Nebraska who just didn't like that blue language. And she was 76 years old and retired school teacher. And one was from a Monsignor in Montreal who was also retired and didn't like it because it didn't adhere to Catholic theology. And I don't even know what you do if you're a retired Monsignor. Don't pray. So anyway, that's it. But no, I haven't had any of the backlash that I thought we'd have, and everybody seems to think that we'd have. I think it was a self-correcting group. The people that it would have pissed off didn't read it. So it's all good so far.
Any more questions?
Bye.
I have a question for Chris. I have all your books, and I was trying to recommend a book to my friend who hasn't read any of yours, and I had a really hard time just picking one. So I gave him 2 and said, "There's more. I don't know which one to give you." I was just wondering if you had a book that you might think would represent you the best.
It usually will depend on who I'm talking to, on which one I recommend first. I think that I think Dirty Job is a good way in because it sort of has the elements that all of the other ones have. If it's a kid, I'll recommend either Practical Demon Keeping or Bloodsucking Fiends. And by kid I mean teenager. If it's just somebody, I think Lamb is probably my most ambitious book. So that's if I just want to go, okay, put your Patterson up here. Where's your James Patterson now? And if they're like English teachers, I'll recommend Fool because of they've probably read King Lear. So, but I know that didn't help you at all. But those are the 4 that are my gateway books basically.
I would expect Fool to start showing up on some required reading lists, frankly, because I think it's a great Shakespearean experience.
Yeah, I want to. When I get all this extra time that I'm going to have, I'm going to adapt it to the stage. I just haven't done it yet. I was supposed to do it the last 6 months, and I don't. I've been watching baseball a lot.
Questions? Who's your favorite baseball team?
would be the Giants.
Okay.
Beltran. Sorry.
Anybody else have a question for Ian or Chris? Nobody's, oh, here you are.
You just have a question, where's the
All
restroom?
right.
Chris, your books are such a joy to read. And you always get worried when people take books and try to put them into film. Is anyone talking to you about taking any of your books and putting them into film?
She asked me if anybody's talking to me about putting any of my books into film. All of them except Coyote Blue and Fool and Fluke, I think, are currently under option or have been bought for film. And all of them except Fool have at one time or another been bought or adapted for film. Ian has personally adapted Coyote Blue like 17 times. He teaches, go tell him.
And Fiends, too.
Yeah, and Fiends. But he teaches adaptation at the Academy of Art. And so all of his students have to adapt Coyote Blue. So it probably has more movie scripts than any other single book that's ever existed. You know, because every semester there's another 30 scripts.
What's going to be your first film?
I don't know. The one that looks closest to getting done is The Stupidest Angel. But that guy's been like, we're green-lighted 15 times. But he's very earnest and wants to do it. But that looks like it's the closest to getting done. But I'm at this point, it's been 20 years. My first book sale was a movie sale of Practical Demon Keeping 20 years ago, and I haven't seen a Practical Demon Keeping movie yet, so I just kept writing books. So I'm not heartened by it. I mean, what if somebody does a really bad movie, and then I'm dead? You know, like you think about, everybody wanted Tom Robbins to have a movie made, and then somebody made Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. And nobody since then has gone, yeah, we need to make those Tom Robbins movies into books, our books into movies. So the guy that wants to do Lamb wants to put like Jack Black in as Biff. I love Jack Black, but he's not a skinny little brown Jewish guy, which is how I describe Biff over and over again, you know. And then after, 2 years later, after Jack Black crashed in year one, which is basically, I think, was inspired by Lamb. He wants Zach Galifianakis. Again, great comedian, not exactly a skinny little brown guy. So I don't know. If somebody makes a good movie, that would be great, but we're not in danger of that happening.
So for both of you, what's up next?
I've actually written a novel that is going out to publishers, and I'm getting some interest from that, so I'm going to step into that world. I've also just finished a new screenplay, so I'm looking to put that together. Okay. And so I'm going to continue with screenwriting and now novels and possibly another graphic novel, as well as teaching part-time. So.
I'm going to watch some baseball. No, I have Sacre Bleu is my book about French artists in the Belle Epoque in the late 19th century in Paris. Is coming out in April, so I'll be back here in the Bay Area somewhere talking to you guys
Well,
about that.
hopefully that'll be here.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And I start another novel that has Pocket My Fool in it as soon as we finish this book tour. So that's what I'm doing next.
Is Pine Cove based on anywhere in particular?
Yeah, Pine Cove is based on Cambria, which is, I don't know if you guys, it's by Hearst Castle. I lived there for 20 years, and when I went to write my first novel, they always say, write what you know. And I couldn't afford to go anywhere else, so I wrote about Cambria. And every time I wrote a Pine Cove book, it was either I had no money to go anywhere, or I was on deadline and had no time to go anywhere. So the 3 Pine Cove books, that's, you know that I was either broke or on deadline. If another one comes up, you know what happened. Although I write about San Francisco now in those circumstances.
Ian, what's the title of your novel?
Bobby La Brea.
Bobby La Brea.
He wrote another one called Anonymous, which is not, it's not anonymous, because he wrote it.